Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jodo cast where playing the intro live is kind of an awkward scenario. You're home for Star Wars gaming. That sounded like because it was divorced from the Jodo cast, saying you're home for Star Wars gaming sounds like a hey, you're home for Christmas kind of thing. But you know what? You're home for Star Wars gaming. That's what you're here for. And I'm Joe, who's yet to figure out how to smoothly do introductions. And joining me, per the usual, is Kurt
Hello.
and Leo.
I like to think that our awkwardness is part of our charm, though. You know,
Yeah, it keeps us
except for that
relatable.
bit where you just stared intently into the camera at the beginning. Don't know that I love that.
Well,
It's just
we
what
were
it's
talking
really
about
like
how
being
like
our friends, right?
how
Like we
awkward
really
it is
stare at
to
each other.
yeah that's what it's like in real life. Like all of the fan meet and greets we do. That's why we don't do as many anymore. They stopped. I don't think people like that. I got something new for us today. So we are going to do what you've been playing. Let's do that right now. Excluding Unlimited, because that is going to be the topic of the show. Everybody, we're talking about Store Showdowns in a second. I have been playing Unlimited. I have been playing in a Shatterpoint League. I did play. I played Cute Loot, which is a Baby Yoda game that is pretty much ripped off of the classic game Hearts, with a few interesting twists. I played Don't Upset the Wookiee, which is sort of a riff on Uno/Crazy Eights, which had great art of like each number. The artwork is Chewie slightly more angry than he used to be on the last card. And I played Star Wars Selfish, which is another European game. Oddly enough, made by an American company, but only can't sell it in America. And it was, I think, will be better with more people. So I played those. Kurt, what you been playing?
Besides Star Wars Unlimited, I think I've played a little more Dark Forces Remaster since the last time we did a What You've Been Playing. I killed Boba Fett, who was surprisingly hard. That is a tough boss fight. Boba Fett's a tough
Is he
customer.
dead?
He is dead, and that game takes place right at the start of A New Hope. So,
How does that work, even at the time?
the you know, I could only assume that Jodo cast replaced him, and that's canon. It must be. It was never Boba Fett all along. Because he's definitely dead. I saw his dead body. But yeah, I think that's the probably the only Star Wars thing I've played recently besides Unlimited.
I've been assembling a bunch of Shatterpoint. The Bad Batch, the Gideon, and the Mandalorian minis are all, I really like all of them.
Nice.
Leo, what you been playing?
I forgot the Mandalorian came out already, but yeah. Anyways,
um,
I'm giving you.
how come only I get the time limit music? I'm not talking for a minute now.
I need to update the soundboard. What you been playing?
It was I've been Unlimited obviously, and I actually got in some Legion. Fuck you.
What sort of Legion?
Just had a game of Legion. It was like just a sort of like an open play thing at our store with the Poplu's Wild Ride kit. But the guy
Poplu's Wheel de Fart.
Yeah, but the guy I got paired up against was like, let's just play a regular game, since like the rules are basically play a regular game, but also Poplu just kind of runs around the board. So
yeah, okay. I never the day I was out of town when my people were playing that, and so I was like, well, I really want those cards because I want the Ewok Altards, and I like the Legion Ewok, so I was given the German copies, which is better because Poplu's Wild Ride just says Poplu's Wild Fart. It's so good, even though it. Okay, so here is a new thing we may or may not be continuing to do. I was given by a friend of the show, Dan, a box of Star Wars Trivia Game, is what the name of the game is. It's just called Trivia Game. I actually already own this. It's on my shelf, unopened. This is a used copy, and it's a mess. All the cards are just. This is, this was apparently $4 at Goodwill. Somebody bought it for him. He didn't want it. He gave it to me because he knows I Star Wars games. So now that this is open and the cards are loose, every episode I'm going to grab a card, read you some trivia. I thought, just based on this game, this is going to be little kid trivia because it looks like a family game. I figured, okay, just based on the branding, it looks like going to be lowball stuff. I was wrong. This is some heavy duty trivia that, let's see if you guys can get. I've selected a random card.
Is this like Trivial Pursuit where we're trying to guess it, or is this like a game where you just read out some trivia and then we learn it and that's the game? How does it work?
As far as like an added segment to the Jodo cast is going to be, I'm going to read you questions, you answer them, then we move on with the show.
Okay.
So it is actual questions, not just trivia.
Correct.
Not just a piece of trivia.
It looks like each card has 3 multiple choice questions on it. So first question is, what was Jedi Master Agen Kolar's species?
Agen
And
Kolar.
then I can read the multiple choice if you need them.
Was he a Zabrak?
That is correct.
Okay.
Specifically, according to the card, an Iridonian Zabrak, because as we know, Dathomirian Zabraks are a different thing.
Sure.
So you just reminded me, I saw I think it was on like the Star Wars subreddit the other day. You've complained about the Star Wars trivia at Adepticon in the past. This person had a picture of their bar trivia, and the question was, on what planet did Obi-Wan fight Anakin and like throw him in the lava or something along those lines?
Mm-hmm.
The choices were Utapau, Tatooine, and 2 other planets that were not Mustafar. I don't remember what the other 2 were, but
first of all, what kind of pub trivia does multiple choice?
I think it was one of those ones where like you get the little electronic thing that they set at your table.
Oh, okay,
and,
like at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. So the answer, according to this incorrect trivia, I believe was Utapau, if I remember correct. So,
well, here is question number 2: who trained the Varactals on Utapau?
Probably like some.
The multiple choice is A, Powans, B, Utai, C, human settlers, or D, Skakoans.
I was going to say Powans, but I wonder if it's actually the Utai because they're like a lower class. So they do stuff with animals, not like cool rich person stuff. That's my guess, the Utai.
That's correct. It is the Utai. You see them like wrangling them when...
Okay.
And the last question on this card is, which subspecies of Mustafarian is tall and thin?
I should know this from the FFG RPG because there are 2 varieties of Mustafarians that you can play. It's like northern and southern.
Are there questions from the real movies?
That is... I'm just amazed, Kurt, that you even like were on track. I read that question, I'm like, I didn't even know this was a thing because your choices are southern, eastern, northern, and western.
I'm gonna say northern. That sounds right to me.
That is correct, Kurt.
Wow, 3 for 3.
That's some crazy trivia to me. Look, just one more, just for a like this question is nuts. If this question was at Adepticon trivia, I would have been like, this is who knows this crap. In the battle above Coruscant, who was Squad 7 leader? Captain Brimu, Captain Antilles, Captain Phaetoni, or Captain Divijan? the vagina.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. See, my complete ambivalence towards any prequel shit is really showing here. Like I'm not one of those people who like hates on the movies or whatever, but I just also I don't get interested in that stuff and don't read into the lore behind
Okay.
most of that stuff. So
Well, before we move on, here's an original trilogy question for Leo. Who came out of Lightspeed too close to the Hoth system?
oh, no. So we go from questions about shit literally nobody's ever heard of, and then we get Admiral Ozzel as a.
So anyway, well, I'll be whipping out. I was also in the same box given a Star Wars Trivial Pursuit DVD Saga Edition. So I'll look and see if those have non-DVD related cards that I can also pull from for, just random trivia at the top. If somebody wants to keep score, go for it. But
I don't know. I feel
Kurt's
like
winning.
doing the DVD stuff could be funny video content.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come with DVDs. Also, I don't know how. I never played any of those old DVD trivia, but I assume you have to like enter codes to bring up the relevant clip.
I don't know. I bet maybe you can find like the actual clips from the DVDs on YouTube or something, though.
Maybe, yeah. It depends on how they work. Because like, if it's like enter a code on your remote to access this clip, it might be harder to do. Anyway, let's get to the meat of the show, or the potatoes of the show. I don't know. We're going to talk about Star Wars Unlimited Store Showdown, the culmination of the casual track, which is highly competitive, it seems. It seems odd to me that the Store Showdown is part of the casual track, and it's obviously being premiere format and having prizes will make it extremely competitive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe down the road here, once we have quote unquote real competitive events, people will be less try hard at Store Showdowns. But I mean, right now it's the only official higher level event. But I think even that is just like here are the one that both me and Kurt attended this past weekend was on May the 4th. So there was a lot of Star Wars Unlimited events happening that weekend.
Yeah, so let's just...
there was fairly big tournaments kind of everywhere, and even in our area there was some bigger non-Store Showdown tournaments with like there was a 1K in the area, and also like another one that had like some boba show, like a boba showcase as first prize, and there was another one that had some other showcase as a prize that weekend. That one was actually on the 5th, not the 4th. But so I think, and some of the more competitive players in our area went to those because they kind of had a little bit bigger prizes. So
and some of those had like 90 people playing and stuff like that, which so like $1,000 prize like that, obviously people are going to take very seriously.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't think first prize. It's not like $1,000 for first prize. It's like I think the total prize pool was a cash pool was $1,000.
Well, that's
I want to do a tournament that's advertised as a 4K, but then like you have to like walk.
You get a 4K TV if you win.
Not bad. It's still very just wild to me, the difference in the prize pool and competition in games like this versus all the miniatures games we came from.
And it was interesting talk or kind of overhearing some people talk about it that are coming from it like from a very, I guess, like mercenary standpoint of like, okay, what is the exact value of these Mace Windu cards? Or what is the exact value of a booster? What is the best placement? And I can like split with my opponent to like get the best like cash value return. I'm like, I don't want to think about like the cash value of these cards. I just want to get a good card,
It seems, it's certainly very business-like to a lot of people where it's like, I'm participating in this to make money, which
feels like it would drain some of the fun to me, at least.
Right.
Maybe that makes it more fun to them. Maybe they like the cutting edge competition. I don't know, but
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, in a way, it's just like, well, this is just gambling. Go to Vegas. These like this is like World Series of Poker type stuff. It feels the same to me, where it's like at that point, like you're, you know, obviously get some kind of satisfaction of putting your skills on display, and but you're there to make money, which is just that's not why I want to play the game. But we're gonna talk about, I think in particular, the Store Showdown you two attended, and then maybe afterwards, if there's time, we can talk about maybe how we can try and get me a Mace Windu at my Store Showdown, which is coming up in June 1st, I think. I don't, as far as I know, there's only one in my area that's scheduled. There might be more that pop up, but I'm
Hopefully you
not
get
feeling
more.
very confident about my chances.
Yeah, you might need multiple to get a chance, you know. It would be nice to have multiple, but
Yeah, maybe if you were as good at the game as me and Kurt.
That's very clear that I'm not. Or maybe
Um,
I just need to drop $50 to get more legendaries. Pay to win.
well,
um,
my deck had no legendaries, I don't think.
Ooh.
I don't think it did.
Okay, how many did Leo have, and what was your placement? And we can correlate number of legendaries to placement in the tournament. It's
I
just
don't think
facts.
my deck had any in it either.
I am. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but I am considering switching my Leia deck into a Sabine deck now. But so tell us about the tournament. How many people were there? What were you? What were your decks? What were you playing?
So we had not the it wasn't the hugest store showdown. Like I've seen some fairly big ones on the internet, but we had 20 people show up, which is still, I think, fairly decent attendance.
Yeah.
It still ended up being, I think those kits are designed to support 32 people. We had 20 people, so yeah. We had over half of the limit there.
It was
Yeah,
enough to do 5 rounds of Swiss.
yeah.
Oh, that does remind me. I heard that there was a store showdown that some of the locals went to up in Phoenix, and they might be getting in trouble or something because it was only 5 rounds when, by the rules laid out by the event guidelines, it should have been 6.
like they had
So
enough
I,
people. They
I would
had
imagine if Fantasy Flight is aware of, like, has the records and like sees, well, they had this many people but only did this many rounds. Uh, you know, that's probably not good.
might
I
I
don't
don't
have any
know.
more
not
details.
I
matter
think
as
it.
for a
I mean,
showdown
I
though.
think
I
it all
don't know.
depends on, like, yeah, that's what their documents do say, but it's also like they also have. I think if I remember right, they actually have you do more rounds of Swiss than are strictly necessary to get enough people for a top cut, or to be able to do a top cut.
Hmm.
Um, which is like a thing that Fantasy Flight kind of has always done in their tournament
I
rules.
don't.
Like I seem to remember that kind of being uh, similar things when, like, the X-wing and Legion rules came out. Is like their number of rounds and stuff for Swiss and top cuts were, like, everyone was always like, why is this not like any other game out there? Um, but we actually, like, we started the day. Our TO was all like, okay, with this many people, we're doing 4 rounds, because in every other game that he plays, with 20 people, they would do 4 rounds, until he read the document and he's all like, oh, I guess this says I'm supposed to do 5, so that's what we're doing. So
Did that end up like? Obviously, after 4 rounds in Swiss, you're gonna have what, like one undefeated, and I don't know. I don't ever know the math on that, but yeah, it seems like
yeah,
it would be
I'll
enough to
admit I'm
like.
not real good on the. I don't know the math exactly either. I just always just follow whatever, like, the document or whatever says when I TO stuff, because I don't know, but yeah, there's math behind, like, okay, you need to do this many rounds to get enough games in to properly do your top cuts or whatever. So
Yeah, and in this case, they were basically just following the software, whatever it determined for the placements and everything. So I remember people commenting that it maybe did the math a little different way than other games again, so people weren't sure how it was gonna do some of the pairings, but ultimately it was handling it, so that's what we were following.
Yeah.
It's my understanding.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, we had those. We did the rounds of Swiss at the end of that. I think me and you were both 3-2 at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both ended up being 3-2. Um,
Which I
and
think there were like several of, honestly, so it wasn't clear who
Yeah,
was
there
going
was.
to make it in.
I think we had four. We had nobody who went undefeated. We had a couple. We had four, I believe, 4-1s at the end. Maybe it was five.
You had some foreign ones.
Yeah,
Where
and
were they
then
from? Canada.
and then yeah, and then well, anyways, both me and Kurt made it into the top eight. Um,
Nice.
and then we actually both ended up in the top four as well. And and I ended up second, so that was cool.
Okay, Kurt, what was your deck,
I
or at least
was,
what it was?
yeah,
Don't tell me every card. I don't care.
I was running the Grand Inquisitor, and I ended up taking a blue base. And kind of the short story on that is I had done Leia, like a pretty standard Leia deck at the previous tournament. And I was like, well, I don't want to do the same thing. I don't even really want to do like a super, super meta deck in general, but I felt like sort of a aggro deck was kind of what I needed to stick with. So that felt like a good choice that like I can switch to villainy and have his ability to like ready stuff and damage my own guys. And blue ended up being, when I was doing practice, blue was kind of the best thing I felt like to pair different units with. And it was fun overall. I think he has a fun and interesting ability. There's a lot of good things he combos with. The top few cards I'll mention will be like Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother, just work so well with him and can do a lot of damage. He keeps readying them. I like the Fallen Lightsaber to throw on them or on the Inquisitor because those add a lot of damage too. So like overall, it's very aggro, but there's a little bit of that blue like removal stuff in there too, in case I'm facing other aggro. So it was fun overall. Like Leo said, I ended up going 3-2, so it was like a little bit mixed. It wasn't like auto winning. I had a lot of tough matches and won some but not others, but I ended up doing better than I expected, especially with a less meta deck than some other ones, so I was very happy with that.
So, what were the games that you lost still close? And
uh
what did you lose to?
I lost to a Sabine deck that would have been played by a friend of the show, Andy, and that one was like semi close. I think we were both in a mode of like who's gonna race faster, and it kind of just depends on what we draw and stuff. But I think overall his was a little faster. But like I had a chance, I had a chance. The other big one I lost was against a green Han deck, and that one just felt like it stomped me. That was like so kind of controlly and had so many resources and stuff. I just like could not keep up. My deck didn't like not work at all against it. Um, and then in the top four, I got like extremely stomped by a green Boba deck that I could just do nothing against, and
Yeah.
like has like such good cards that's like I can't trade with any of these things. So that was tough. Though I mean it was still fun to play, but yeah,
Wait,
it was
did you lost it against Han, Boba, and Sabine?
in the end, yeah, two of those in Swiss and then one in the top cut. But
Okay.
but I had other ones too. Like I was able to win against Alea in one of the Swiss rounds. That was like tough and close, but was able to pull it out. I had a different win against a Han, which was a Han red deck that I thought went really well for me. So it really depended match to match if I was like super fast or if I was not quite fast enough or if it was depending on the draws and stuff. But overall, I thought it was an interesting deck to switch to after Leia. Like it felt more, I don't know, kind of there were kind of more like clever plays and more combos. It was a little less just like, oh, just play all the units as fast as possible. There were like some interesting choices and stuff. So It was cool. I would recommend that style of deck to people too who are looking for something a little less meta. But I feel like it seems like it could be really competitive. Like, and I bet with like a better player and some tweaks, like I bet it could really be competitive a lot of the time too.
Yeah, and I was running Sabine with the ECL for my base. One of my losses during Swiss was I also lost to Andy uh, with his Sabine. It was a Sabine mirror match. Um, I think that was that was like the fastest round I've ever played because we were both playing Sabine, so the game just got over so dang fast. We had finished our um, and we even played all three games because he won one, I won one, and then he won the last match. And um, we were still the first people done, and I think there was at least like 30 minutes still left in the round.
Wow.
um, so I mean that was nice. You know, we got a little time to relax and stuff. I honestly cannot remember what I had my other loss to. The um, During Swiss. Um, but yeah, during the top cut though, I played against a Palpatine deck. Um, that um, he wasn't he was I was actually that Palpatine's only loss, or I was the only one who his only loss during the Swiss rounds. I played him during Swiss also, and I was his only loss during so he wasn't real happy being paired up against me immediately in the top eight.
Went basically the same way again.
You know, actually, at least for me, I think it went a little bit better. Like the first game I played during Swiss against him, I won the first game. Um, and honestly, I only won that first game because on the last turn of the game when I drew my hand, or when I drew my cards, one of them I drew a Rebel Assault, and that let me attack with two and do enough damage to win. If I hadn't drawn that Rebel Assault, uh, he would have won that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really close one, and then he won the second game, and and then I squeaked in the third one. Those were closer, but then I think that when I play at him again during the top cut, I think it was also partially just I would think I was a little bit more comfortable playing against his deck because I hadn't really faced Palpatine before that because it's not something I've seen other people playing locally a whole lot.
Yeah, same.
Um, so I think I was a little bit more comfortable, and I took that one 2-0. Um, but then after that, then I faced the that hand green deck that you lost to.
It was actually, or I think we ended up facing different Han green decks because mine was Randall and yours was Casey, or maybe we're talking about different
No, because
rounds.
yeah. Oh, did you not play Casey's?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's what he had was the hand green, and um, that was a really close one. Also, that was a tough deck to play against. But and then for the finals, of course, I went up against that Boba deck, and he just um, it didn't even feel like it was close, you know.
Yeah, same for me. It was just like there's like literally nothing I can do or play, and like it's crazy when he can, especially like resupply and um, super laser technicians and stuff. How early Boba can come out, and then also get a 5 cost unit out that is like kind of hitting above its weight too. It's like just crazy.
Yeah, it was a tough match, and I felt like completely outclassed playing against that Boba deck, um, and um, yeah, that's it. It's a really good deck, and
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. I mean, maybe if I had gotten different draws, or he had gotten more unlucky draws or something like that, things would have been different. But
Yeah, that's the part that's hard for me to kind of analyze because I played a different Boba Green deck in the top 8, and that was a tough matchup. That was since I was in 8th place, I was paired against first place, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to win this one. This is going to go badly, but I managed to scrape out 2-1 in the end on that, and yeah, I have to wonder if there was much of a difference in the cards they had. I mean, that guy obviously did better in the Swiss, but then like I did way worse against the guy who ended up winning. So I don't know if their cards were that different, or maybe it came down to the draws or something about playstyle or what. But uh, even like the same deck can go like very differently sometimes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, also like that Palpatine, I faced that exact same Palpatine deck 2 different times, and the first times were very close, and the subsequent match, um, well, I don't think I like breezed through it or anything. I felt much more comfortable in those 2 games that we played, um, which again, I mean, it might have just partially come down to the cards I was drawing and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I feel like overall there was, at least to me, it seemed like there was pretty good variety of the types of decks people brought to the event. There were definitely, a few Bobas, a few Sabine and Leia's, uh, but it was cool to see a few Hans. There was some other stuff, Iden, Palpatine, like you said.
Hmm.
Uh, I didn't get a super close look at everyone, but I felt like it was a little more variety than the previous one that I went to that seemed to have like
Yeah,
a lot of Han, a lot of Leia,
yeah. I know there was
a lot
I
of Boba, a lot of
only
Leia.
I
There
only
was,
remember
yeah,
seeing like 1 or 2 Leias, not a lot of Leias. There was like 3 Sabines there. I think I know of at least like 3 Bobas. Um, there was at least 3 Hans, at least like 2 Han greens and 1 Han red.
there was
No
a
Han Blue. I played
Tarkin.
a Han Blue yesterday
Hmm.
that seemed really interesting because it was almost like a mill deck with
Yeah. No,
Interesting.
three.
I didn't see any. I think most of the people I saw who were playing, I saw some Iden as well, but
There was at least one Tarkin, at least one Vader, maybe a couple.
So,
Definitely a lot of leaders that didn't show up at all, but I
so Leo,
felt like
you
there was
got
good variety.
second, and
yep.
Kurt, what did you end up placing?
Fourth. Just definitely
So,
better than I expected. Like I was like, I gotta get a Mace Windu, which I didn't have any of, and so I came away with 2, which feels really good, plus some booster packs that had some other cards I needed too. So
all
definitely
right. Well,
better than it seemed like it could have gone.
Yeah, I
our
pulled a I
goal
pulled a
now
Luke from
is
one of my prize packs, so that's cool.
Nice.
our goal now is for me to get at least fourth place in my Star Championship, and let's spend the rest of the episode making that happen. So I just to get out of my system, I went to a weekly play, and I knew more of the kind of the competitive players are going to be there, so I went and I played my Krennic blue deck that's built on like Childson gimmick, and did okay, but I went 1 and 2. My losses were not blowouts, but I was like, okay, I'm done with that deck. That deck needs. I need more copies of Avenger and Vigilance and stuff to make that worthwhile. So whatever.
Hmm.
So
That's
now,
exactly why I haven't been playing any blues. I need more vigilance and Avengers.
yeah. So now my thinking is, I really like red and yellow, and I was doing Cassian yellow, but that's just not fast enough. So do I go for Sabine yellow because I love all of the little yellow cards like Leia and Lothal Insurgent, or do I just try make a Boba deck with probably green? Um, Either of those is probably good. I don't know which one is more my style. I haven't played Boba as much. I haven't really played Sabine either, but I played a lot of like Leia and Cassian, which have a lot of the same cards, so I'm probably more familiar with how those work.
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the results from all the different other tournaments around the world that happened this weekend too, there's like a lot of those super meta obvious things are showing up a lot, but there's also some variety still getting into the top 8 too. Like there are like, it's not just green Sabine, there's like red Sabines and yellow Sabines, so I think that's worth a try. And there's been I think there were a couple different Cassian decks in some of the different top 8s, so there's like definitely stuff getting in if you can like do it right. So I think all those
Yeah, I
things
don't know
have
if I can.
potential. If you've been having fun with yellow white, then I feel like a yellow Sabine or some kind of Han deck definitely seem like worth a try. I was really impressed by a lot of the Han stuff we saw at this tournament. Where it was like, oh wow, this is really coming together in a way that I didn't
So,
expect.
how does Han Green tend to work? Because I saw yesterday how Han Blue works, and it's pretty cool. But again, you need a lot of vigilance and need more Spark of Rebellion too. I only have one of those, and I don't know
Mhm.
if I feel like buying more. Um, so what's Han's Han Green deal? Just Ewing reinforcements to get a lot of people out
Yeah, I
quick.
mean,
Yeah,
there's
that's
Ewing
part of it.
reinforcements, and you ramp yourself up to get like Han Solo, the unit out.
Yep,
And
got
I mean,
plenty of
you can
those.
get between having the green ramp and Han's ability, you can often get him out stupid early. So
I think the key
The
things I
unit.
noticed. Well, yeah, the unit or the leader, right, or even
well,
both if
yeah,
you
both,
can.
yeah.
I would say the couple
Yeah,
things that really stood out to me in the Green Han that I faced that was really tough. He made really good use of R2 and 3PO because that
Hmm.
like extra card draw really helped, and then he always knew like what he was like possibly resourcing and stuff, so that was really big.
yeah, that seems
And
good.
he had, I believe, 3 copies of Traitorous, which
Yeah,
really, at least for my deck, that was a really tough swing to have him steal like some of the only units I was playing.
yeah. There was a lot of pretty much if I was playing against green, I was sort of assuming there was going to be traitorous in there, so I was sideboarding in my Fang fighters quite a lot that weekend.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think I might look into Sabine or Han because I do really like uh, just the heroism units more, or at least I played with them more. And
It's
Sabine's
kind of,
probably a little bit more self-driving than Han is because
yeah,
you
I
don't have
feel
Han's
like
ability. I think takes a little bit more brain power to like get it just right.
Yeah, yeah. I
I would
mean,
agree with that.
the biggest thing you just need to kind of do with Sabine, as far as her leader ability stuff, is just figure out when do you want to do it versus when is it more beneficial to make sure you're taking the initiative.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think you could pretty easily make a Sabine yellow deck where I think the bones are still kind of very similar to like a Sabine green, but you're just swapping out, um, a couple things here and there. Like you're probably putting like Ezra in, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I
I
would,
really like Lothal Insurgent.
yeah, that would be a
Hmm.
good one. I like Lothal Insurgent. Even having
Leia
Leia
unit.
in there for just either
Yeah.
the utility of either being able to ready a resource or exhausting something your opponent has out is pretty good. Um,
Yeah, because after the first turn, that extra resource could let you play basically twice as many units, maybe.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and of course, yellow also gets you the access to the Falcon, which even if it's not even if you're not sort of having hands ability to play with it, is still a really good space unit.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with my Cassian yellow. I mean, I feel like I could go look at my Cassian deck and just strip out a few cards and replace a few and throw Sabine in, and it might
Mm.
be.
yeah.
I'm looking at one online right now, and it's similar to the one I was running with Cassian. Like all the space units are exactly the same. You know, X-wing, A-wing, Falcon, Red 3, Wing Leader. Uh, so
Yeah, I feel like
Maybe I'll
basically
try that.
swapping Cassian for Sabine, you get the extra base damage, you get your leader out faster, so you'd be like that much faster. You're not like slowing down to draw cards or
Hmm.
whatever. So like that could be
This
really big.
the deck I'm looking at is using Jeddah City, and I am a little scared to use Jeddah City, especially with Sabine. I don't know if that's worth it for me.
I mean, I haven't tried it, but yeah, it sounds more
It
risky than useful, maybe.
Yeah, I mean Jeddah City can be clutch, but it's hard to like make that worth it. I feel like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially when you're hurting your own base.
Yeah.
It probably feels easier to hurt your own base when you know everyone else is running 25 health and you take a 30. But all right, I will come up with some sort of Sabine yellow and get fourth place at my store showdown. And
If not
I
better.
guess, yeah. Well, at least fourth place.
It's an
Any
interesting
less than that,
question
and I've
though,
failed.
because I feel like I'm kind of in a similar place now, looking ahead to our next store showdowns, where I'm like, I don't want to play the same deck again, even though I liked it, and I don't want to like just go back to Leia or some other meta thing. So it's like, what could I play next? So I'm in
Do
sort of place of trying to think through stuff and not being sure yet. You know.
Here's something that's either brilliant because no one's thought of it, or garbage because no one's talking about it.
Hmm.
Chewbacca yellow.
Okay.
So you just load up on Sentinel stuff, control. You got the removal cards. The yellow is hitting them with all the, you know, waylays and exhausts and stuff. Just it'll be real slow, but it'll just stop everything they're trying to do with Sentinels and all that stuff.
Hmm.
There you go. Be the
I
next big
think there's
thing.
some potential there. I find myself keep coming back to aggro or nearly aggro because it's like, okay, this is kind of what I'm used to now, and it doesn't require as much brain
Yeah,
power, but
that's
I that just kind of keeps
that's
channeling you back to the same stuff pretty quick, you know?
that's how I felt playing this Krennic deck the other day. I was like, this is kind of I don't. It's not bad, but I don't know if I enjoy this as much because when I was playing that Han Blue, he'd play a thing. And I go, Power of the Dark Side, Power of the Dark Side, Vanquish, and then he because he was playing blue, he had most of those same cards too. And it's like, so we don't really get to play, do we? We're just throwing these cards at each other that remove everything we're doing. And
Yeah.
that game took because he had Luke and Yoda, and I had a number of restore and all these cards that were healing my base. The game went so long. I got milled out because he played two vigilance that removed so 12 cards total, and then we just kept going like bouncing between like 5 damage and 15 damage because there was so much healing going on. It was like I don't know. I think I'd rather just go back to playing aggro.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we all have a plan. Leo, what are you doing for your next door showdown? Same
I,
deck?
I haven't decided, to be honest. Like, I kind of want to switch it up, but at the same time, it's like,
That
okay,
one took you
well,
to second
yeah,
place.
this one took me to second place. Um, but I get annoyed playing the same deck too many times when I
Hmm.
play card games. Also,
Right. You
like,
made a bunch of cards. Might as well use them.
so I don't know. We'll see. It's also going to depend on how ambitious I get as far as like building a new deck and getting some reps in with it before the next store showdown. Because it's like, honestly, I didn't get too many reps in with this deck before. I only played it maybe 3 4 times before the store showdown, but it's the Sabine green is so close to the Leia red deck that I was playing some beforehand that it still very much felt like I was still playing the same deck almost, just because it was like 90% all the same cards in the deck. So, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I think I'm kind of locked out of blue just because of my lack of like vigilances and Avengers for if I want to play some dark side ones. So I can't do Boba because I've only got one Boba. So that's also part of the reason why I've built what I've built because it's all like, okay, this is probably the best, most competitive deck I can have with the cards that I actually own. So
Yeah. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's tough. There's kind of a few things that are like the biggest in the meta right now, and I think there is like a fair amount of other variety. Especially people keep trying new stuff. Han's getting more popular, stuff like that. But even so, you know you're going to face those two or three most popular things, and so like you kind of have to be ready for that, which
mhm.
seems like it flattens the options a fair amount, realistically.
Well, everybody, if you have played in a Store Showdown or plan to, tell us what you played and how you did and all that sort of stuff. Because, or come on our, leave a comment here, or come on our Discord and chat about it. Because every time someone goes to a tournament, it's fun for them to show up on Discord and give a breakdown of how they went and how they do things differently and all that sort of stuff. So I've got some training to do before my Store Showdown. Gonna Maybe we do some webcam games or
Yeah,
something.
I was gonna say that's another thing
Honestly,
you can
yeah.
do. Pop on our Discord and play some games against Joe to help him.
Yeah, kick my butt because I suck.
Yeah, because honestly, when I was getting ready for this one, I did kind of a lot of webcam matches against different people on the JodoCast Discord, and it was really good practice playing against different decks, different people, different play styles. Some people gave me extremely good advice on like tweaks to make different cards and stuff, add some more of this, take this out, and I think that really did help me tune a lot for the actual tournament. So I think that really helps.
Cool. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of the JodoCast. Play us out. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Like I said, leave some comments and whatever. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. I feel like you probably already have if you're watching this on YouTube. But there you go. See you next time.